Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu Sputatara. Very good. Very good, Ramagiri. Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu.
Jagrat Swapna Sushuptishu.
Sputataraya samviddujrimbate.
Sputataraya samviddujrimbate.
Ya Brahmadi pipilikantatanushu.
Ya Brahmadi pipilikantatanushu.
No tea break between Brahmadi and Pipilika. Ya Brahmadi pipilikantatanushu.
Ya Brahmadi pipilikantatanushu.
Prota jagat sakshini.
Prota jagat sakshini.
Saivahanna cha drishyavastviti.
Saivaham na cha drishyavastviti.
Dhrida prajñā yasyāsti chet. Chandalostu satadvijostu guruhu.
Chandalostu satadvijostu guruhu.
Ityesha manisha mama.
Ityesha manisha mama.
Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam.
Brahmaivahamidam jagatcha sakalam.
Chinmatra vistaritam.
Chinmatra vistaritam.
Sarvam chaitadavidyaya trigunaya.
Sarvam chaitadavidyaya trigunaya.
Sesham maya kalpitam.
Sesham maya kalpitam.
Itham yasya dridhamati mati sukhatare.
Itham yasya dridhamati sukhatare.
Nitye pare nirmale.
Nitye pare nirmale.
Together. Chandalostu satadvijostu guruhu. Ityesha manisha mama. Shashvannashvarameva vishvamakhilam.
Shashvannashvarameva vishvamakhilam.
Nishchitya vacha guroho.
Nishchitya vacha guroho.
Nityam brahma nirantaram vimrishata.
Nityam brahma nirantaram vimrishata.
Nirvyaja shantatmana.
Nirvyaja shantamana.
Bhutam bhavi cha dushkritam pradahata.
Bhutam bhavi cha dushkritam pradahata.
Samvinmaye papake.
Samvinmaye pavake.
Prarabdhaya samarpitam swabapuho.
Prarabdhaya samarpitam svabhapuho.
Ityesha manisha mama.
Ityesha manisha mama.
Yeah, so this is the thing. What is that? Bhutam bhavi, this is where we are. Bhutam bhavi cha dushkritam pradahata. So this whole thing is about, it's a nididhyasana grantha. It is a text for contemplation. You can't contemplate on something unknown. So you have to contemplate on only things that you know, like chocolate cake, cappuccino. All these things sound good because they are known. And when you contemplate on them, you can smell the aroma, you can taste everything. And if you didn't know, if supposing a Martian came and was asked to think about cappuccino, No fun. Correct? Yeah, unless they had cappuccino in Mars. That's a different thing. So if they didn't have, if the Martian was told, please contemplate on chocolate cake and cappuccino, no fun at all. Because they don't know what it is, right? So likewise, Atma also, if you start contemplating on an unknown Atma, only sadness will come. Either you blink, Atma who? No, Atma you. Oh me, oh that. First you blink because you don't know what is Atma, and then what you think Atma is only will come. I'm an idiot, I'm a donkey. I don't know any better. I always keep making these mistakes. What's wrong with me? Why can't I learn? At least if I have to make mistakes, why can't I make new mistakes? Why do I keep making old mistakes? These are all, this is all the result of the original mistake, which is myself, Atma. So this is assuming that we know the Atma. So it's not really teaching. It is basically delineating what the Atma is like and, talking about it from the standpoint of this surprise visit by the Chandala. Yeah, because, and surprise visit in two ways. One, nobody knew that the Chandala would cross the path. Secondly, nobody knew he would become so cross after crossing the path. And thirdly, that he would be so erudite and that he would be so intelligent and a Vedantin, a Pakka Vedantin, gives the Guru back, gives Adi Shankara back. Nobody knew that he would do that. So in a number of ways surprise. So they basically taking his personage as an example, it is delineating the bhava, it is talking about the Atma, the existence of the Atma from the standpoint, not the existence, the nature of the Atma from the standpoint of its knower. Because the knower and the known happen to be one and the same thing. There is no difference. Knower is known. That which you know, you are. So there being no difference, it's talking about the Atma from the standpoint of what? From the standpoint of this person who has imbibed the knowledge. So it's assuming that everyone is like this Chandala, very erudite, and we are understanding everything. It is assuming and going along. So it is delineating the nature of the Jnani. So we saw Shashvan Nashvarameva Vishwam Akhilam, just to recapitulate. So that this is the whole Jagat is Drishta Nashta Swabhava. As soon as you see it, it is gone. Seen gone, seen gone, seen gone, born gone. Oh, it isn't? No, it is, but in between, what is the Jagat? Is it or is it not? It is. So, but where is it? It is in between born and gone. That is the Jagat. Jayate gacchati. Born, gone. Oh, but where is it? In between born and gone. That split second, that's what it is. So the only thing constant about this Jagat is that it is constantly changing. That's what it is. Shashvan Nashvaram, meaning always changing. Vishwam Akhilam. Starting with his body, everything is changing. Yeah. Even when you see the person, you see somebody, and that by the time the light hits the eyes and lights up that person, and you say, okay, I recognize this person, the person is already a few seconds older. You see, by the time you understand. Shashvan Nashvaram. Yeah, that's how it is. And so, like that, everything is constantly changing, and then this is ascertained. Ascertaining this, one goes to the Guru. One doesn't go to the Guru, as I said last time, to ascertain this. This must be obvious. Yeah. So ascertaining this, having ascertained this, one says, okay, no other go, hey Guru, no other go other than you. So one goes to the Guru, and then what happens? The Guroho Vachaha So through the speech of the Guru understands one more small detail. What is that? Nityam Brahma. Brahma Nityam. So this Nityam that I was looking for, everything that I encountered was, Nashwaram, now Anitya. There's only one Nitya, and that is Brahma. What is this Brahma? Me. That myself. So it all comes back. So the Guru makes the person spin around, does a U-turn. That's what it is. Guru, gives some orders from the Upanishad. Tattvamasi. Tattvamasi means, please, in the English translation of Tattvamasi is, please make a U-turn immediately. That's what it is. It's all traffic instructions. Niruddham, stop. Yeah, that's all it is. So it's like how to drive this body, mind, sense complex in the what is that? India traffic-like conditions on the Indian roads, or like that kind of roads of samsara. How to drive the body, mind, sense complex in the roads of samsara while not getting trampled and while not trampling on others. How to drive. So that is the first lesson learnt by the Guru, and the second lesson learnt. That is the one of the practices, and then through that practice one becomes qualified for the knowledge, and the knowledge that is gained is you are Nityam. You thought you were driving yourself and others senseless, but you are actually Nityam. You are whole. You are the only thing that there is. So Nityam Brahma Nirantaram. You are the one that is constant. You were seeking the constant, but that's you. Vimrashata, ascertaining that, and then ascertaining that after with the resolved mind. Here Atma, in Shantatma, in that compound is not about Atma, it's a resolved mind. Through a resolved mind, which is the means for this knowledge, Nirvyaja. Nirvyaja means authentic. We talked a lot about authenticity in the earlier class. Nirvyaja means free of pretenses. So dropping the pretense, including the pretense, I'm a Vedantin, therefore what? My head is permanently in the clouds. And all of you, whoever you are all, you lowly mortals, you will never get this knowledge. Look at me, I'm just flying. I'm the best, east or west. Look at all of you. What, you don't even know how to spell Vedanta. And here I am, And then that is kind of a hubris that comes. Because we have texts and, what is that called? Like Viveka Chudamani, which says that Durlabham Trayame Vaitat. These three things are very difficult. And, you have to have lot of punya. For what? Mumukshutvam. To even gain this knowledge, to articulate the desire for freedom, you have to have punya, mumukshutvam, and then 3 M's. What are they? Manushyatvam. First Manushyatvam, don't forget that. Manushyatvam. Even before mumukshu, another small detail, you have to have the body of a mumukshu. Can't have a dog body and expect that mumukshutvam will rise. It will not rise, Only the tail will wag the dog. That's all. Nothing else will happen. So the correct body, result of punya, and the correct demeanor to seek this freedom, result of punya. And what's the third one? And the correct person to guide you in this knowledge, Guru, here called Mahapurusha, that is also result of punya. Oh, inflated. And the person thinks, I have so much punya. I have all the 3 M's. I am a mumukshutvam. Yes, check. I am a manusya. Check. I am a mumukshu. Definitely, check. And I have been collecting gurus from a young age. Check, check, check. Why one Mahapurusha? We have to have many. Let's have many. More the merrier. One guru for India when I go there. One guru for here when I come here. One guru to take with me on the go. Pocket guru. I have pocket dog. So pocket guru. Like that. So I have many Mahapurushas. Why one? And then you look at somebody on the street, some unfortunate soul you look on the street. Perhaps a homeless person. And then this fellow goes around strutting. I think I know what you were doing in your last life. You were not collecting punya like me. This is the worst kind of hubris. This is called Vyaja. Yeah. All this to understand Vyaja. Here, what is forgotten is that in that verse itself, Manushyattvam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Samshrayaha, what is that coming from? Daivanugraha hetukam. It is coming from Bhagavan's grace. That you have forgotten. And instead, what are you seeing? You are looking around to see how, you just have some kind of a, punya measuring tape in the mind, and you're just keeping on measuring the people as soon as you see them. How much punya? Nah, not enough, yeah. And then sometimes, this is one form of the hubris. The other form is, the person is all caught up in terminologies. Tell me, what do you think of abhinna nimitta upadana karanatvam? And the person says, what? Oh, you will never understand. Never mind. So, what do you think of swarupa aparityagena rupantarapattihi? What are your feelings on that? This is what is called insufferable pride. And that is not, nirvyaja. Nirvyaja means that inauthenticity, that pride is not there. The masquerading as something else. The pretensions, even the pretensions that attack one with learning, that have a tendency to attack one because of the learning even, they are not there. And the mind is resolved. So with such a mind, contemplating on the words of the Guru, and then this is how the person is spending the time. But then aren't they worried about their retirement? No. Why? Because they're already retired. Without being tired. Usually the word retirement is retired. After you're tired, then you give up everything. Here there is no tired. Yeah. Already retired. Retired into what? Retired into the quest for themselves. Retired into themselves. And, one with themselves. So there is no fear of needing to go to work, and what about my promotion, and where am I going to stay, and what's going to happen, and how much do I have in my fund, and what about the stocks and the bonds. All these worries are not there. Sannyasa is the ultimate retirement plan. That's what it is. Instead of trying to understand how much money you need to fulfill your longings, it's backwards. Go towards the path which teaches you how to grow out of the longings. Yeah. And when there are no longings, you don't have to worry about belongings. That's all. That's the whole thing. So here is a perfect example of a retiree, and who is so restful, so rested and at peace with oneself. And why? Because there is no fear of the future. Okay, like that, Bill Gates is also secure. No problem. But then, fear of the future may not be there. The future is not there. Future attack is not there. Then what attacks? Past. Past attacks. Why? Because one hasn't done things that one is proud, one is proud of. One has done things that one doesn't like oneself for. There are regrets. I wish I hadn't done this. In fact, I wish I had done something else. To put it Upanishadically, kimaham sadhuna karavam, kimaham papamakaram iti. Why didn't I do the right thing? Why did I do the bad thing? This is what it is. Yeah, Taittiriya Upanishad says. This is the lament of a ajnani. Ayyo, the one who's constantly saying ayyo in whatever language they speak. Ayyo, yeah, oh no, oops, any you translate it in any language. Oh, whatever it is. Oh is the American form of ayyo, because they like to shorten everything. So, all these things, these are all showing that there is a regret. There is a horrible regret connected to what? The regret is not towards the future. Cannot be addressed to the present. Regret is always for things that have gone by. Like what? Youth, of course. The first thing to regret. Oh, I wish I had done that. I wish I had climbed a mountain. Now it even hurts to look at one. Forget climbing. Even if I go like this, first I have to make a chiropractor appointment and then look up. This is the situation. I wish I had done that. Those kinds of regrets. And then what other kinds of regrets? Because I lost my temper. I stopped speaking to somebody for what? 50 years. I haven't spoken to them. 50 years I was angry. No, speak now. Well, I wish I could. They just happen to be dead. That, I would have. Trust me. I have seen the error of my ways, but they didn't wait for me to apologize. They went to God. What to do now? They got tired of waiting. But that regret is still there. I wish I had expressed this. I wish I had done that. I wish I had not done this. All these things. So many regrets. I didn't have all these experiences, and I had all these other lousy experiences. And then what? I had all these people who were mean to me, and and I gave it back to them. Only later, 12 years later, I understood it was a bit much. Why 12? Because when the Jupiter comes back, it takes 12 years, 1 year in each sign. So it goes through the zodiac, it comes back and gives a little jnanam. So 12 years later I said, oh no, shouldn't have. What did I do? How could I have been so foolish? So then, that is another kind of regret. Then the regret of, what is that? Other people's omissions and commissions towards me. This person was mean, 25 years ago and hasn't yet apologized. When are they going to say sorry? So, it's not that you have stopped speaking to them. The speech is still on. In fact, you meet them at parties once in a while, but you can't enjoy them because when you look at them, the unsaid sorry comes to mind. And when that unsaid sorry comes to mind, as yet unsaid, all the other unsaid sorries, starting with the mother who dropped you when you were 3 months old and didn't say sorry, everything comes to mind and the person becomes incapable of transaction and has to take a mental health day off. This is how the general, the general population operates at some level of this. And it is seen, it is ratified, it is seen as all right because everybody is doing it. Yeah, it's natural to regret the past. Of course, everybody has regrets. That's how psychotherapists open shop, because of our regrets. Otherwise they would be out of a job. If there are no regrets, then there is, that's all the half of the psychologists and therapists have to close down shop. Because psychotherapy deals with regret. Now, that is it's one of its major preoccupation. And then if there is no fear of the future, the other half of the psychotherapists also have to deal with closing their shops, because the other half of psychotherapy deals with fear, anxiety, anticipation, sorrow. This is what it is. But then what to do? That means this Chandala underwent psychotherapy. Therefore, tasmat, conclusion. No. He underwent super therapy, which is Vedanta. We call Vedanta as super therapy because when it shows you and in front of you, it makes you eat up the past and the future. So all there is the present. And the present is a continuous present. It's a gift. And so therefore what? There is no regret. When the past itself is dismissed, what about the regret? The regret has no place to go and attach itself. Cognitively, the future is dismissed. So what anxiety? No, that's why we call it free-floating anxiety. You see, it is untethered. It doesn't need to catch on to anything. Well, that also is taken care of. Because the free-floating anxiety, that's not as free as you think. Upar se floating, underneath it is anchored to something. And that underneath is also, excavated and dug out completely, uprooted, avasadayati. Uproots. Visharati dissipates all this. And when the past and the future are shown to be iffy and totally on shaky grounds, the past is saying, help! I thought I was timeless in this person's mind, but I am, the bomb has started to tick, 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 tick. And the future said, I had a foothold. I was nicely scaring this fellow. Now, this so-called whatever Vedantin is not believing in me anymore. That's what it is. Because it's very simple. Because when you worry about the future, the worrying is happening in the present. Now, you're not worrying about the future after doing some time travel and going into the future. You're not worrying about it. You're not going there and saying, oh no, but even if you were to go there, it would still be the present. It would not be the future, correct? And the past too, you're not traveling in time and regretting it. You're regretting it now. You are not regretting it then, you're regretting it now. No, I was regretting it then too. That then was also now. That then was now. And what is not yet come, that is also now. It's all now. So what past? Where is the past? No, it's not there, it's gone. Then if it's gone, why are we discussing if it is gone? It's not gone from me. Yes. That's what it is. But why hasn't it gone? Because you haven't made a repast out of the past. Finish it off. Make a repast out of it, and Vedanta makes this squirming jiva, restless squirming jiva, to sit in the present. Like even the dog is trained to sit. Sit, it will not sit. Sit, it will not sit. This is called obedience school. Sit. Obedience school is for the owner, not for the dog. That's a small aside. How, I'll tell you later. Sit, it will not sit. Then you show a little dog biscuit. Sits immediately. It has understood, it just didn't want to do it. And as long as the biscuit is in the hand, it will sit. So who is obeying? Really. So like this, the Vedanta Guru says, sit. Won't sit. Settle down. Won't settle down. All over the place. Runs, woof, woof, barks at the Guru also. Whoa, 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 whoa. Sit. No. And then reward, Brahman. Oh, okay. Sits. That is the power of Vedanta. This squirming jiva makes them settle down. And what is this Brahman? It's the gift of being in the present, unplagued by the past and the future. That is the biscuit. Yeah. And seeing that biscuit, everybody sits. That's what it is. And comes at odd hours to class. That's, that's the thing. Morning, noon and night, poor things are locked down. This is what the whole thing is. Because that gift is such an, inimitable gift. It cannot be replicated. It is the whole and I want it badly. That's all it is. And so, this Chandala has gone through the Vedanta school of therapy, super therapy, and has graduated from that. So doesn't need a therapist, because bhutam bhavicha dushkritam pradahata. So the person is setting a fire. To what? To all the dushkritas. Dushkritas means all the things that one is not proud of. Bad karma, bad actions and the results thereof. Setting fire recklessly, setting fire to the bad actions and the things that I regret. Bhutam means in the past all the things that I have done, gone. Bhavi, yet to come, that is also gone. Dushkritam pradahata. And what is the kindling for this fire? The kindling for this fire is the knowledge that I am Samvit. I am with who? Samvit. From the first verse, what is there? What does it say? Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sputatara ya samvidoradar vijrimbate. That Samvit. That Samvit. That Samvit is that knowledge. That Atma, which is the knowledge of Atma, same thing. Here it's the knowledge of Atma, there it was Atma itself. Another name for consciousness is Samvit. Samvit maye, samminmaye pavake. Pavaka is a very beautiful word. Pau plus aka. Pu, it comes from pu, to purify. In fact, the word purify also comes from pu, must be. It should be pronounced purify. Purify. From pu, punati. That which is the agent of purification is called aka. Whenever you add aka, it means agent. It's a suffix called nul. That's why whenever that nul comes, that u becomes au. Takes vriddhi, adi vriddhi. And so therefore what? Pu becomes pau, pau plus aka, pavaka. Fire. Because fire purifies. Like nothing else. How does it purify? By exterminating everything that is not needed. Gone. That's the best way of purification. Nothing is left behind. So here, all the regrets of the past and the anxieties of the future and all the things that may happen in the future and how I am going to react, all these things are set fire with the fire of Atmajnanam, the fire of knowledge. The fire of knowledge annihilates, swallows up the past and the future. Very beautifully put. And what kind of knowledge? Atmajnanam. Samvinmaye. Samvit plus maya is called Samvinmaya. That ta becomes Samvinmaya. And Samvinmaye pavake. In this fire of self-knowledge, all regrets of the past and the future are burnt to nothingness, completely gone. This is very nice. And Samvinmaya, the word Maya has many meanings, and the main meaning here is Samvinmaya means its own self. Swarthe mayat. Mayat is the suffix. It is not like a preponderance of Samvit because it cannot, that's another meaning. It's not the meaning in the sense of preponderance, and it's not vikara because, or modification, that's the other two meanings. Maya here means completely full of itself, really, completely itself. So Samvinmaye pavake, in this completely, in this Atma and nothing but Atma knowledge, in that fire, that Atma knowledge is like a fire because it exterminates ignorance and the broods of ignorance in the form of regret, fear, anxiety, preoccupation with the past and the future. All these things are burnt up. Very nice. And then, so this is the same thing is iterated also in another Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad. It says that Tasmin drishte paravare, Tasmin brahmani, in this Brahman, when I see para and avara simultaneously, when I understand Brahman to be both para, which is the ultimate, and avara, lowly, this fellow, yours truly, correct? Yeah, so this lowly, avara means not to be counted, lowly. So this lowly person says that that para and avara is myself alone. Tasmin drishte paravare. Then what? Kshiyante cha asya karmani. That person's karmas, dushkritas, all the things that one has done, not just in this life, many lives. All the things that one has done in so many lives that one has not been proud of, waiting to fructify in this big, account, a secret account, an offshore account, so far that you don't even know how to access it. No, but what if I want to withdraw from it? Don't worry, it's withdrawing itself constantly. In the form of aches and pains, in the form of blocked ambitions, in the form of unfulfilled dreams. It is withdrawing itself. You can't be in charge of it. So, this is what the karma is. And if you have had one human lifetime, one life as a human being, then what? Then all the karmas for all the different lives, endless amounts of karma are in this account. It is called sanchita. Sanchita means happily collected. That's really what it means. Ching chayane, to collect. Happily collected. Boa constrictor life, yeah, I think I'll take that. Jellyfish life, yes, I think I'll take that. Buffalo life, yes, why not? Giraffe life, whole animal is neck. Yes, I think I'll have that. Cockroach life, okay, no problem. Earthworm life, you don't know which end is what, you don't know where it is going or coming. And okay, I'll get that. And you cut it into two, both of them go away this side. That is the earthworm. You don't know where it starts, where it begins. It's another expression of infinity, this earthworm. Another expression of infinity, and that also I'll take. And what about all the microscopic things? Yeah, sure, why not? So you pick up the raw materials for the all these lives. It's almost you've gone shopping with Chitragupta and picked up all these raw materials for various lives. Why? Why did you do that? Through my own actions. So every action has a consequence and creates, raw material for all possible lives. But what if somebody's karma is so different that it has to just be something, it does not, there are no species that can express that particular karma. New species will come. Marsa. Yeah, Marsa is a new thing. You know what Marsa is? Yeah, it is, what is that? It is Satyam Jnanam Anantam. It cannot be eliminated. Yeah. Trikalepi tishtati. It is threatening to remain in all the 3 periods of time. It's a hospital bug, super bug. Nothing can kill it, because hospital bug means if you have to go to the hospital to get it, especially. So you go to the hospital to get rid of 1 or 2 bugs that you have picked up, and then you come back, because you should never come back empty-handed, and so you come back with MRSA, and the doctor says, sorry, we cannot do anything. That's it. This is what it is. So MRSA, new form, Zika, MRSA, all these things, suddenly, up till now, Ebola, I'm sure they were there, but now there is a proliferation of that because those karmas need to be fructified. That's how these are the expressions of that. And so all the karmas, all the life forms are possible for me, and this much karma, endless amounts. If there is something that is infinite before jnanam, it's karma. It's the excess of karma that I am carrying in this account, invisible account, somewhere. And then out of this big karma, let's think of it as a big piece of dough, one little piece is made out and then made into a roti and then put on the hot griddle called this life. Yes, that is called prarabdha. How much out of that sanchita, a small what? Relative. A small ball is broken up, 80 years, 100 years, 105 years, how much will one survive? All this, and all this is made into a ball, and then whatever is in that ball, it's a paratha, it's filled, it's a feed ball. Like you have, what is that called? Aloo. Aloo is a potato. So these chapatis are stuffed with various vegetables which are sauteed, like potatoes and what else they make. The cauliflower and potatoes, you can fill up this and make that. And in the case of the paratha you can say yum. In the case of the jiva you have to say yama. That's what you have to do. Because that is where all this is headed, and so then that stuffing is what you have to endure in this particular life. So we have discussed 2 kinds of karmas. One is that big shopping bag with all kinds of creepy crawlies, every possible life. That is called sanchita, nicely collected over several thousand million lives, which is stored. It's very depressing to think about. And then what? Then out of that a small ball is broken up. And how do you decide which part of this basket you go and take a ball? Which part of the dough? Because there are so many fillings, so many things are there. Why this part? Because that was the last desire in the last life. So that is what clamored to express itself. That came foremost and said, me. Okay, come along. That's what the whole thing was. So then that fashioned itself. And that is called prarabdha. What I have to endure in this particular body, in this particular life. That is karma of the second type. What is the third type? It's called agami, yet to come. I always think of it like this. When you are born, you are sent with 2 suitcases. One is full and, gets emptied. At the end of the life, empty suitcase. The other one is empty and becomes full. So the first one is from the previous life, whatever has to be endured, previous lives, whatever has to be endured up till now, up till in this life, and the empty suitcase is what you are going to do. And it has just 2 non-negotiable compartments, papa, punya. You cannot say, well, my intentions were very good, but unfortunately this thing died. You cannot say that. Yeah, it's not non-negotiable. I was actually doing CPR to the mosquito, but it died. Why were you doing CPR? Because I accidentally swatted it, then I remembered. Ya Brahma Dipilikanta Tanushu Prota Jagat Sakshini. I remembered that. So then I did CPR, the stupid thing just croaked. And so therefore, can't it be, because of that effort of CPR, can't it be in the punya No, non-negotiable, 2 compartments. No, for shirts and pants, no, for Papa and Punya. That's how it is, 2 compartments, and then there is no, this is called Agami Karma. And after death, after one life, what happens? Where does the Agami go? It flies, it is called unescorted baggage. There's a word for it. How do you say that? Unaccompanied baggage, yes. Unescorted, unaccompanied baggage flies, is flown straight to Sanchita. And you see how the Sanchita keeps growing? You don't even have to ask, do I earn interest? Don't be interested in that. You are yourself contributing. Yeah. It's a fund that is exponentially growing all the time. This is called Sanchita. And what you have to endure this life is called Prarabdha. And what you are doing while enduring this life is called Agami, which joins Sanchita. And so what is the prophecy, the Upanishad's promise is that Kshiyante cha asya karmani, all the karmas of this fellow go away. When tasmin drishte paravare. Para, the whole, avara, this lowly fellow who is alienated from the whole. When I see myself as the whole, one meaning, para cause, avara effect. When the effect is seen as non-separate from the cause, when I understand that all this is one, which karma goes? All the karmas go. All the karmas go? Really? All the karmas go? Yeah, kshiyante, kshiyante chasya karmani. It's not just 2 karmas. All the karmas go because it is multiple. Otherwise we had the dual. We could have said, 2 karmas go. But here it says, all the karmas go. A scary prospect. Because the person is sitting with Manisha Panchakam and has gains the knowledge. Wow! I am the whole gone. Prarabdha also gone. Correct? Yeah. In fact, then why, if the Prarabdha is remaining, this is my question to you. Why should you ask all the questions all the time? My question to you is, you have just said Prarabdha doesn't go, thank God, otherwise no Guru. Already we have trouble with students not being interested in Vedanta. If this were the case, nobody will come. Because everybody, for everyone, their life is dear. Okay? And the life is dearer than Vedanta at any given moment of the day. Yeah, this is a hazard, this is a danger. Because in case I get enlightened, finished, Ram Nam Satya Hai. This is the final words on the final journey, which the people chant. And as the body is being taken to the crematorium. So this is what will happen. And so therefore nobody will come. So then you agree. You just said, no, Prarabdha doesn't go. Everybody agreed. Okay, if Prarabdha doesn't go, then why is the Upanishad lying? That's my question. Why is the Upanishad saying Kshiyante cha asya karmani? It should say, Kshiyataha cha asya karmani. It should have used the dual. It should not have used the plural. Because we have this dual, this question is, has to be asked. Why does it say all the karmas go when obviously the Guru is available to teach and the students go and learn? See, the other problem is not only the students are not there, nobody will even come near Vedanta. 1 month course advertised, 0, no one. Please, save me, help me. I want to live for more than a month. Tell me when it's over, But then there will be no one to advertise it because the Guru also has gone. At the moment when the person understood without a shadow of doubt that I am Brahman, then the person's last thought was, oh, maybe I should have had a 1 month course. Finished, gone. So that is not the case. Students are there, teachers are available to go to. So this means Prarabdha is there, correct? then why does the Upanishad says Prarabdha is also not there? Not this one, not this text, but we are talking of the Mundaka Shruti. Why does the Mundaka Shruti say Prarabdha is there? Prarabdha is also gone when it is still there. Why does it say that? Huh? It shouldn't say that then. It should say that Prarabdha is also, is still there, other two are gone. The Prarabdha, as though, yeah. See, that's a very nice thing. Few things we should know. As though. You can get away with anything. In Vedanta, if you say as though, everything you can get away from. So how come we say Prarabdha is there? Because for the person who is studying, for example, the teacher's body is still available, correct? So then you say, oh, this is Prarabdha Karma. And then one day the teacher coughs, another day the teacher doesn't come to class, sick. The third day the teacher says something, no, not feeling well, stomach ache, back ache, leg pain, whatever is there. Fifth day the teacher is in the hospital. Sixth day the teacher is out of the hospital. So you see all these things happening to the body of the teacher. And so from the standpoint of the world, one can conclude that the Prarabdha Karma is intact because we see, how is Prarabdha seen? You don't see something called Prarabdha, you see the effects on their body and you see that, sometimes somebody comes and is rude to the teacher. Oh, this must be teacher's Prarabdha to have this rude fellow as the student. And one can make all those conclusions, correct? So this is from the standpoint of what? From the standpoint of the world, seeing this person do transaction in the universe, and then there is a body and a mind available for transaction, and things are happening to this body-mind sense complex, which is concluded as Prarabdha. Now see the same thing from the standpoint of the Jnani. The Jnani never says, I have Prarabdha. Why? Because the Jnani has renounced the karmas. Renounced the karmas completely in the wake of the knowledge, falsified the karmas, and how are the karmas falsified? Karmas are falsified by falsifying the doer. When there is no doer, which bank account will the what is done go accrue? It's like a dead man winning the election. Sometimes, like it happened last time, there was nobody worthy. It may happen this time also. Some jokers are standing for election. And so, so sometimes as a protest, some people will write in somebody's name. Write in something like Mahatma Gandhi and vote for such a person, or write in the name of a dead candidate and then vote for such a person, because why? It is the electorate's verdict that no one who is alive is ready for this office. I'd rather vote a dead person in. As a protest, people do that. Okay, so then they advertise on the radio, on the news, on the TV. And what does it say? That the projected winner is the dead man, dead woman. So what? What can happen? Nothing can happen. The dead person is neither elated nor dejected if they lose, neither elated if they win, correct? Why? They just happen to be dead. They are not there. They are not, they are not in that transaction mode at all. They are unavailable for transaction because they are no longer part of this universe which is conducting where the transaction is happening. And so too, the Jnani is no longer part of this transaction called karma. Why? Because the Jnani as a karta is dead. The karta is dead in the Jnani. The doer is dead because the doer has been morphed into Satchidanandam Brahma. All this, this is all Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. The doer is Brahman, doer is Ishvara. So what is, I'm not the doer. So the doer is gone, so doership is gone, and so the results of doing are also automatically gone. So from the Jnani's point of view, there is no prarabdha. But the body remains, correct? The body remains and the body is available for transaction and it is available for all kinds of sicknesses. Yes. In and out of hospital, that is what it is. And so the body remains. And so therefore, here it says, prarabdhaya samarpitam vapuhu. Prarabdhaya samarpita vapuhu means a body that has consigned itself to prarabdha, as though prarabdha. Because that sickness can affect the body, but it's not affecting the jnani. Even if the jnani says ouch, it is not affecting the jnani. That is what we have to see. Because the jnani is not saying, why me? Why I am only sick? Why nobody else is sick? Why I am having a bad day? All these questions are not there for whom. That is, that is the thing. And also usually when prarabdha attacks, what does the regular person on the street, what do they try to do? They try to attack back. No, I want to buy time. No, I have to do this. No, I want to do that. No, not now. Later. Come on, don't do this to me. I have to have this now. And so one keeps on buying time because one wants to live for one more day, 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 one more day. Even the sickest person. We have a joke. One grandma was sitting and writhing in pain, arthritic grandma. And she said, Yama, where are you? How can you watch me in pain and not take me away? Swing low, sweet chariot. Come on, I'm ready to go home. And Yama happened to be in the neighborhood. Yama said, Grandma, come. Ayo, Purnama, I have to go now. Ippo, right now. Yeah, you only called me. Yeah, I called, but I didn't think you would come right here. Right? You were not. I didn't know you were right here. Come on, let's go. Don't waste time. Well, my great-granddaughter, she's coming from California next week. All right, I have an appointment here next week. I'll swing by and pick you up. Oh, well, she happens to be pregnant. And don't you want me to see my great-great-great-great-grandchild? All right, when is the child going to be born? In 6 months. Okay, I'll come in 6 months. Always one more day, one more day, one more day. This is the person. And so, prarabdha becomes a non-acceptable, inadmissible in one's life. One is lashing out all the time. Why me? One is lamenting. There is a lot of chinta, worry, anxiety. There is a lot of vilapa. What is that? Putting it on Facebook is called vilapa. Putting the prarabdha on Facebook, which is what everyone does. And tweeting about it. Tweeting about the prarabdha and putting it on Facebook is vilapa. So crying loudly, why me? I have been singled out, I am getting a double dose, I am upset, I am an idiot, I don't want this, I don't want this, I don't want this, how should I do this? This one said something bad to me, so I have to do something else in return. That one did something to me, I have to give back, and I have to protect myself, I have to be defensive, I have to be offensive, I have to do this, do that. The person's life is busy. Busy. And when all else fails, go to Florida. Why Florida? To retire? No. For plastic surgery. Yeah. Because everything starts to sag. And then at that time, you need a lift. Everybody needs a little lift. And people who need a little more lift go to Florida to undo the ravages of time. Ravages of time means prarabdha alone. So generally speaking, everybody is anti-prarabdha. One is rebelling against prarabdha. Each time it comes, I am ready with a, comeback. I am ready with a argument. In other words, I am not ready to accept what comes. Here, swavapuhu, one's own body, prarabdhaya samarpitam. given to prarabdha. Like even we hear that sometimes after death, the people say, I don't want to be burned, cremated. I don't want to be buried. Well, you better make up your mind because we are not having you at home, you know. Yeah, we are not going to keep this fellow at home. What do you want? No. Donate my body to science. Donate my body to a hospital, to science. Let them cut me up. Let them do anything. Let them take the brains out and pickle it. Even while I was living also, I didn't use the brains, so they were pickled anyway. So let them pickle the brains. Let them put them in a in that some kind of a bottle. Let them cut up the body, let them take out each and every bone and measure it and do some studies on it and carbon date it and do anything. What is that? For the sake of science, I have given this body for science, let them do whatever. Similarly, while living, not after death, I have given this body for prarabdha to experiment as it will. Let it cut it up, let it cut up the body. Let it give it marsa, let it give it this thing, let it give it anything. Whatever happens, let it be there. And the Shraddha is there that if there is a sickness, the medicine will come if it is supposed to come. If it is not supposed to come, then it will not come, and that's also okay. There is in the 70s, I forgot the name, but there was this great astrologer who predicted his own death. Bad idea, but makes for a depressing life after you've done that. So rather bad idea, but he predicted his own death, and he knew it was a difficult time. He said, one way I can do this, because the death was going to be by accident and because of a metal. That much he knew. So he soundproofed and kind of put mattresses in a room and then repaired to the room, and then made sure that the food that was given to him, that was just delivered through the small little opening 2-3 times a day, was all clean, no marsa, no bugs, nothing. And then it was also ascertained that everything was sterile, all the utensils, everything. And then he was keeping a journal inside this room. He didn't see his family. He told his family, if I come out in 72 hours, I'll live a very long time. And then if not, please check on me after 72 hours. And so he was just there. He was writing in his journal, and he said, okay, I think day 1 is done. Wonderful. Day 2, no calamities. And then day 3, what happens? The hubris is setting in. Yes, it's gone. The hour is gone. Only 45 minutes more to go. That was one of his last entries. Only 45 minutes to go. And then lunch came. He ate lunch, and then something was stuck in his teeth. Absently took a pin, metal, and just tried to floss his teeth with that pin. And Lord Yama sat on the edge of the pin in the form of not Zika Marsa, tetanus. And for some people it is very deadly, and he was unable to even call for help. Immediately he had a, kind of an anaphylactic reaction. The pin must have been rusty or whatever it was. He didn't see. Small pin. And that's all. Lord Yama is very obliging. They can even come on the small pin. So you see, all his calculations and all his protection could not save from the prarabdha. Prarabdha has the last laugh. As though prarabdha has a real laugh, a very hearty laugh. And so therefore, here the person who does not object to prarabdha and is in a place of acceptance doesn't mean that if something can be averted, they will not avert it. That's not the point. The point is that they allow things to happen in a place of acceptance. Prarabdhaya samarpitam vapuhu. And then what was that? Esha manisha mama. Iti esha manisha mama. So such a person, chandalostu satudvijostu, we have to bring that in. What was there in the first 2 verses? Chandalostu Satudvijostu Iti Esha Manisha Mama. No, Prarabdha karmas don't go to the students. Thank God. Yeah. I'm just reading because I put on the glasses to read the next verse. I'm reading some comments here. Yeah. They don't go to the students. What goes to the students, she's thinking of Tattva Bodha. What goes to the students is the Agami karma of the teacher goes to the students. One small things, maybe the teacher inadvertently stepped on a small being while walking or something. The Agami karma goes to the student who is cursing the teacher. Okay? Yeah. You are fine, don't worry. So, only those who are cursing the teacher, they will get that. So, Prarabdha karma doesn't go to the teacher. And then, Solveig writes, but can the Jnani step back forward into the doership? As though, if the Jnani does, it is without doership. Yeah. Okay. As though, all the way. Alright. Yeah. Next. Yatiryam naradevatabhihi. Let's clean that up, okay? Yatiryam naradevatabhihi. Ahamityantasputa grihyate. Let's clean that out also. Ahamityantasputa grihyate. Yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishayaha. Bhanti svato chetanaha. Tam bhasyaif pihitarkamandalanibham. Tam bhasyaihi pihitarkamandalanibham. Spurtim sada bhasayan. Spurtim sada bhavayan. Yogi nivritamanaso hi. Gururityesha manisha mama. Yatiryang naradevatabhihi. Ahamityantasputa grihyate. Yadbhasa hridayaksha deha vishayaha. Bhanti svato chetanaha. Tam bhasyaif pihitarkamandalanibham. Tam bhasyaif pihitarkamandalanibham. Spurtim sada bhavayan. Yogi nivritamanaso hi guruho. Ityesha manisha mama. Yatiryang naradevatabhihi. So that was for me. Okay. Yatiryang naradevatabhihi iti Antasputa grihyate. Antah, within, ya, she, who she, samvit. Yeah, yasputa here means purti. Samvit, that consciousness which is in everything. In everything means what? Tiryak. Tiryak means what? Animals that grow sideways. Yeah, head and stomach are on the same latitude. That's what it means. Yeah, same latitude. And head, legs and stomach on the same latitude, which is not true for us. So, Tiryak, Nara. Nara means what? Human beings. Or at least that which passes off for a human being. Correct? And then what? Devata. Now who is Devata? Yeah, celestial beings. So human beings, celestial beings, other beings. What is common? Being. And that being is called Sputa. That's Purti. Yaspurti. That Spurti, Sputa means clearly. Grihyate. Is clearly understood. Grihyate, how? It is understood. Ahamiti. As I. Well, I know what I mean by I, but how does the dog say I? Because if I say, did you do this? It just doesn't say anything. It doesn't say, yes, I did this. But there is definitely I notion in dog. Definitely it is there. It is there. But it is a I notion that is developed according to the species, and it's an I notion that is more or less programmed to recognize its own and recognize inimical beings, predators, etc. In all the animals it is there. Nobody, that's why they naturally do this. Nobody has to tell the antelope that this is a big cat. Beware of cats with spots and stripes. They are called cheetahs and they are called tigers. And also beware of no stripe also, that's a lion. And what are you? You are not an antelope to them. You are lunch and dinner. So beware. Nobody, the antelopes, as soon as the baby antelope is born, it doesn't get a class. Grandma antelope teaching the baby antelope and showing the picture. Leopard, cheetah, that's where it is. This is what it looks like. Run the other way. This one is, tiger, no better. Run the other way. This one is okay. It's a gazelle. It belongs to a similar family. Nobody says this is a friend, this is an enemy. There is no, show and tell. There is no class like that. Instinctively they know, because their I-ness is spread to recognize their own species for the sake of reproduction and other species inimical to them for the sake of preservation of the species. So that is how that I is there. Very much, There is the dog also is there. I is there in the dog. I is there in the cat. Definitely it is there that they have personalities. But they are kind of more or less programmed personalities. But even in that you see some wonderful things. You come home, the dog rushes to greet you. And especially after a 10-day holiday. You've gone for a holiday, you come back, the dog rushes and wrestles you to the ground because it is so excited to see you. You come home after the 10 days, the cat takes one look at you, shakes a leg and goes to the other room. It's like you didn't care about me for 10 days. I certainly don't recognize your existence. To me, you are Asat. And then you have to work up to the good graces of this cat. The thing doesn't even weigh 10 pounds and it bosses. That's how it is. So that is the aham in the cat. Ahankara is there, that I notion is there in the cat, in the dog, even in a tree. But it is What is that? It is not blossomed as much as the I notion in the human beings. They know I am there, they know I is there. But the bear doesn't say, I can't bear it that I miss out so much because 6 months of the year I'm asleep, like Kumbhakarna. And why should I do that? I'm just going to a narcolepsy clinic and I'm going to, get out of this. No. Because the I is there, but that I notion is not so complex to have complexes centered on the self. That is how it is. That's why they are free, even though they know I am there. They recognize each other. Every dog will recognize another dog without mistaking it for a cat. Even if you dress a small dog for Halloween in a cat costume, it will still recognize it. Other people may be mistaken. Oh, cat has come. No. Other dogs are not mistaken. The dogs laugh. They have the last laugh. They say, you must be crazy. This is a dog. This is not a cat. So like this, the animals know themselves and others. And how do they know themselves? Because they have a certain I notion. And they recognize that sameness in others. And they recognize their difference from predators. So that is what is called in the Tiryak aham. But it is an aham without regret. The dog doesn't say bad dog. Those slippers, I told you to stay away from them. Yes, they were very tasty. We know that anything that, comes in pairs is very tasty. And, and what are teeth for? We know that they are just there for that. But we have to grow into better beings. We have to grow out of this prakrita buddhi of chewing on the chappals. Chappals are not for chewing. They don't write a board and put it there on eye level, Tiryak level, Chappals rule. Chappals are not for chewing. And they don't go to a chappal addiction clinic, Yeah, shoe addiction. I want to overcome my shoe biting addiction. Or I just have a biting reflex. Anything that moves, I want to bite. This is the cat. Anything that moves, I want to bat, and then after batting, I want to bite. Please help. They don't have a complex. They are happy however they are. This is their nature. But the human being, alas, what a sorry state of non-acceptance. So sorry, This samsari, so sorry to see this samsari. Very, very sorry about himself, herself, and about the whole universe. Completely filled with regret. From top to toe, full of regret. And always searching for some self-help group to join. And always searching for some do-it-yourself growth. Lurking in the do-it-yourself section of every shop. This is the person. Lurking, but he's too ashamed to even find that, to be found out that one is taking the help of the book. That's why. So this non-accepting bunch of nonsense that passes off as a human being, there also aham aham iti. What kind of aham? Aham, aham, crying aham, unstoppable bucket, a balti of tears. Bucket of tears. Person is constantly leaking sorrow, full of leakage. And this is the aham. And then in the devatas also this aham is there. I. That's why Yama says, I did this, I did that. Indra also is very proud and he says, we defeated the asuras. Asmakameva vijayah, asmakameva mahima. Iti, they have a party to celebrate their victory against the asuras. All these devas, Indra is there, Agni is there, Vayu is there, and they have a wonderful tete-a-tete. And Agni says, I just went close to him, begged him for a bit, and then he ran away. Vayu said, I didn't have to go close to him. From far away I did foo, and he ran away. Indra said, you all had to do something. I just looked at him and touched my mustache, and he ran away. Like this, they are lot of jolly making, they are clinking the glasses and cheers, cheers, oh, unto us. They are making their own toast for their own self. That's not a very nice practice. Somebody has to give a toast. You can't be doing your own toast, Then, the party is interrupted. Oh, a gate crasher, unexpected guest. They both scan the guest list. No such person is here. Doesn't give the name. Looks very androgynous, but looks very attractive. Everybody is helplessly attracted to this. Is stealing the thunder of the party. Indra is equal to thunder. Okay, yeah. Is stealing Indra's thunder. Is stealing the whole show. In fact, this was to facilitate ourselves. And this person comes and all the guests mill around. This is not good. Agni, go and find out who it is, because Indra is too proud. I'm not going to do that. See, that eye is very much there. Agni goes, comes back unsuccessful. In fact, Agni is insulted by this celestial being called Yaksha. Agni gets a put down in his life that he had never expected. Agni gets two put downs actually. First put down, Yaksha says, so who are you? What? You don't know me? I'm Agni. I'm the temperature in your body. What are you talking about? I'm the one that lights up the whole world in the form of the sun. You don't know me? Oh, that's who you are? Yaksha is unimpressed. So what do you do for a living? Well, I can burn you. I can burn everything that I touch. Can you burn this? A miserable blade of grass. Agni just sort of flicks it, thinks it will just go up in flames. Doesn't even change color. Then Agni says, I have to sit on it, microwave it. Still nothing happens. Sits on it and microwaves it to the power of 10, nothing happens. Then he just slinks back because he's been insulted. This one who could burn several forests cannot burn a blade of grass. Then Agni comes back and says, Vayu, you are so wonderful. Why don't you go? Vayu says, okay, no problem. Vayu meets with the exact same fate. Who are you? What do you mean, who am I? I'm Vayu. I am Matarishva. I go in space. I am this, I am that, I am everything. Without me, nothing happens, no life. In your lungs, I am in the form of prana. I am that. What do you do for a living? I just blow things around, And then what? Same blade of grass is presented. Can you blow this away? Oh, come on, this is an insult. Nothing happens. Then he brings in hurricanes of the past, present, from Katrina onwards, all the hurricanes, he brings. That doesn't even move. He also comes back and he tells Indra, I don't know who this is. And then when Indra goes, Yaksha disappears. At least the other people could talk to the Yaksha. Here, the Yaksha himself, the celestial being, disappears. Then Indra in humility bows down and meditates at the same place. And then a gorgeous being comes called Haivavati Uma, and she teaches. She says, that was Brahman. that was you. That was an avatara of you that you did not acknowledge because you were having an ego, ahankara-based revelry. So in this revelry, there is a revelation. And this revelation is you are not just this I notion, you are this I. That is the cause of the universe. She teaches, she becomes a teacher of Brahma Vidya and she teaches about Ishvara. And so like this, Ya Tiryak Nara Devatabhihi, in all the beings, regardless of whether they are lowly or superior, exalted bodies, lowly bodies, inferior bodies, crying bodies, complaining bodies, querulous bodies, regardless of that, the eye shines brightly. You know, the eye is evident. So, ya tiryang nara devatabhihi, what does it do? Aham iti antah sphuta grihyate. There it clearly shines. It clearly shines. And then, what else happens? Yad bhasa hridaya aksha deha vishayaha bhanti. Swataha achetanaha vishayaha yadbhasa bhanti. Things that are not insentient by themselves shine with the help of which light? Very beautifully put. Things that are insentient, such as what? Hridaya, here manaha, the mind, aksha, eyes and the senses, deha, body, vishayaha, the sensory objects, objects of the senses, all of them bhanti, shine, even though swataha, themselves, achetanaha, even though they themselves are insentient, they borrow the shine of which? Spurti. That spurti comes much later, in the 2 lines later. Okay? Ya spurti, that ya in the beginning has to go with spurti. So that is what the whole thing is. So ya spurti, that spurti which shines, and that spurti shines, and because of which hridaya aksha deha vishayaha, all the sense objects shine, and all the senses shine that go after the sense objects and identify them, because of which light, in spite of themselves, in themselves, being what? Insentient. That requires a little more discussion. We have time tomorrow. Okay? Yeah. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Now, Yaksha disappears because Yaksha knows that Indra is capable of this knowledge. And therefore Indra meditates. Yaksha doesn't want to get into a discussion. Ego disappears. Ego aspect of the self disappears and the jnana aspect shines. No aspects, there is just one. But ego cannot disappear. The ego is lightened of its burden that it is limited. That's all it is. Yeah. Haimavati is an avatara. She is the first instance of an avatara in the Upanishad. Okay? Yeah. All right. 4 o'clock, back to the same place.